Things have not worked out for me the way I thought they would this week, but they're not going to work out for Blake Papini either. Hello, my fam. It is Perez, the queen of all media, the original influencer, journalist, podcaster, and your number one source for everything It Ends With Us saga. First, don't worry about me. I appreciate you all more than I can express, and your concern is received in the best possible way. But I know one thing with every fiber of my being, and that is only the strong survive. And I haven't stuck around over 21 years because I am weak. I am stubborn. I am the hardest working person I know, and I am willing to take on Goliath. Having said that, representing myself against Subpoena Serena has definitely not been easy, and I've made a lot of mistakes along the way. But I am learning quickly and adapting. You must be nimble. That's one of the secrets to sticking around for 21 plus years. I'm the original influencer. I started doing what I do before the word influencer even existed. So, just minutes ago, Judge Slimy issued a ruling against me, basically trapping me, forcing me to respond to Subpoena Serena's motion to compel the subpoena that she issued against me in the Southern District of New York. Her despicable lawyers argued on her behalf that because I filed a sensible request for a protective order, that I automatically subjected myself to the jurisdiction of her lapdog in the Southern District of New York, Lying Lyman. No, 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 no. No, 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 no. They filed a very long brief explaining why they were correct. However, I had already filed a motion to quash this subpoena in the court here in Las Vegas, the District of Nevada, the appropriate place to litigate the subpoena. I live in Las Vegas. I work in Las Vegas. I was served in Las Vegas. I have no ties to New York. And she and her team listed Las Vegas as the place of compliance. That means Las Vegas is the correct and only place to either compel or quash the subpoena. But her expensive lawyers are trying some trickery, and the corrupt, biased, bought-for judge, in my opinion, here, in my video, I would not say this in a court filing anymore, the judge seems to be on her side. A few days ago, I filed a new, different request for a pause, an extension of time, asking Judge Lyman to not rule on her cross motion to compel my subpoena until the court in Nevada figures everything out. And I had already last month filed in Las Vegas. Well, as some of you might know, I made a mistake in the procedural element of it all in Nevada. I'm not a lawyer, and I didn't know that you can't serve someone by email here in Las Vegas. Okay, no big deal. Today, I have gone and sent by freaking registered. I'm not gonna delete this one, y'all. My brain is racing. You should see how many mistakes I make that I go rewind and then do over. Sometimes they slip through and I don't even catch them, but I'm doing my best. And sometimes my best isn't good enough, but I'm trying to learn from my slip-ups and actually actually, in this instance, I think the mistake that I made 100% is only going to help me. Thank you, Plantation Princess, Ku Klux Khaleesi, Blackface Betty. So, even though her ethically challenged lawyer Ezra Hudson and Mike Gottlieb were aware that I had filed a motion to quash in Las Vegas, I had informed them of that in email, and they even told the Southern District of New York in their cross motion to compel that they would be responding in Las Vegas by August the 18th. Well, yesterday, the judge in Vegas issued an order. It is literally called Minute Order in Chambers of the Honorable Judge Richard F. Boulware. When talking about the subpoena that the Woody Allen apologist served on me, the judge here in Las Vegas said, I quote, "Compliance is required in this district," meaning Nevada. Y'all, if I had not effed up and if I had served Litigious Lively's legal team correctly, I might not have gotten this order, which is going to help me now in my forced response to Judge Lyman. A federal judge, just on the record, on the court docket, ordered compliance is required in this district, not in Judge Lyman's district. I now think, as a layperson, obviously I've said it time and time again, I'm not a lawyer, but I now think, because I have this order and because I'm going to attach it as an exhibit to Judge Lyman, I think that will help me a lot in my response and in the judge's ruling over my objection to her argument that I subjected myself to her lapdog's jurisdiction. I didn't. And another reason I am thankful, honestly, I do believe in the universe or God and everything happening as it should. There is a grand design to things. Had she and her team not filed this cross motion to compel with Judge Lyman, I would not have been forced to respond. But thankfully, I thought of something. I really would have made a good lawyer. The key issue here is jurisdiction. Does Judge Lyman have jurisdiction over me? Can he claim that? Does he have jurisdiction to compel? So, I will read to you his order, and I'm going to give you a spoiler alert before I share with you my response. My response is going to be tailored just to the issue of jurisdiction. And this is a blessing because I'm giving the biased judge less reason to rule against me. I'm not going to have any distractions of all these claims why I think her subpoena should be quashed. I'm not even arguing most of my or all of them except for jurisdiction. So now let's get into what her new bestie said about me minutes ago. The Donald Trump appointed judge writes, quote, pro se non-party Mario Armando Lavandeira Jr., Lavandeira, seeks an extension of time to file his opposition to the motion to compel filed by plaintiff Blake Lively. See docket number 567. Lavandeira's opposition is due today, August 13th, 2025. See docket number 568. And he requests an extension of time to respond until the United States District Court for the District of Nevada has resolved his pending motion to quash the same subpoena. Yeah, seems sensible. The motion for an extension is denied. No surprise. Very on brand for Lyman. He continues. Lavandera seeks, in effect, a stay related to Lively's motion until the district court in Nevada issues a ruling. But Lavandera has not demonstrated good cause for briefing on Lively's motion not to go forward. Lavandera is free to argue in his opposition to the motion to compel that the court should defer ruling until the district court in Nevada has ruled. It appears, however, that Lavandera has not yet properly served his motion to quash in the District of Nevada. Pause. Somebody let him know that. Because otherwise, this judge in New York would not be paying attention to my docket in Las Vegas. It appears that Lavandera has not yet properly served his motion to quash in the District of Nevada, and the court does not assume, nor should Lavandera, that it will necessarily defer ruling in favor of a proceeding that is now further behind than the one in this court. To the extent Lavandera has already argued in his motion to quash that the subpoena is improper, he is free to repeat those arguments here in his briefing. Okay. The clerk of court is respectfully directed to mail this order to Lavandera, and Lively is directed to serve this order electronically on Lavandera. The court will also share this order with Lavandera by email today, August 13th, 2025, at the email address he has used to email filings to the court. Lavandera is encouraged to sign up for electronic service by email as to reduce the burden on the clerk of court having to mail orders to him. He's now asking me to do them favors. He wants me to do his clerk a solid? No. I've only been encouraged. That's the exact word. I haven't been told I must do so. So I'm not going to. I'm not even going to address that. Let's just get to my response. Here we go. I began working on this yesterday because I had a feeling Judge Slimy would rule this way. And he did. So you got to be a few steps ahead. And I am. All right. I have not looked at this since yesterday evening. I might be doing some live editing. Let's go. United States District Court, Southern District of New York, Lively versus Wayfarer Studios, non-party respondents, limited response, personal jurisdiction only. August 13th, 2025. Sending this in today. The deadline is today. I have until the end of today. I'm going to send it way before the end of today. I'm sending this before it even hits 4 p.m. Eastern. I don't want any excuse for this not to be docketed and filed. Even though Team Kaka has repeatedly squeaked in filings minutes before the deadline, at the end of the day, repeatedly, I'm not playing that game. So, most honorable Judge Lyman, I, Mario Armando Lavandera Jr., known professionally as P to the E to the R to the E to the Z to the H to the I. You know who. Right. As a non-party in Lively versus Wayfarer Studios, LLC. Background. Pursuant to the court's directive, I submit this limited response solely to address the question of personal jurisdiction over me in connection with the subpoena at issue. I do not consent to this court's jurisdiction to enforce or compel compliance with the subpoena. I felt very important to start off strong against this crooked judge. And if you're not watching the court docket and paying attention to his rulings daily like I am and like so many others are, you might not know, in my opinion, this judge is really in her pocket. Let's continue. I affirm that the United States District Court for the District of Nevada, where I reside, work, and where the subpoena expressly designates compliance, is the proper venue under federal rule. I'm going to tweak that. Is the proper and only venue. Well, is the. Oh God, I'm a little nervous. I affirm that the United States District Court for the District of Nevada, where I reside, work, and where the subpoena expressly designates compliance, is the proper venue under Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 45D3. I only submitted to this court, Judge Lyman, a narrowly tailored request for a protective order under Rule 26C to halt what I believed were abusive discovery practices by Miss Lively's counsel, particularly the repeated issuance of burdensome subpoenas to non-parties. This was a defensive procedural measure, not an engagement with the merits of the underlying litigation. Additionally, the Honorable Judge Richard F. Boulware II, the judge for the United States District Court, District of Nevada, who is overseeing my motion to quash, ordered with regards to my request for quashing, quote, compliance is required in this district, meaning his court in Las Vegas. This order was issued on August 12th, 2025. See Exhibit A. Yes! I tell Slimy, quote, a federal judge has already issued an order that compliance for the subpoena served on me by Miss Lively must be handled in his district, not the Southern District of New York. I think I'm doing pretty good, y'all. This filing in SDNY is made under protest and does not waive any other objections to the subpoena. I expressly reserve all remaining objections, including those based on relevance, undue burden, overbreadth, First Amendment protections, the reporter's privilege, and every single argument made in my previously filed motion to quash in Nevada. I'm going to add this, which has just today been properly served on Miss Lively's counsel. See Exhibit B. I'm going to send them my certificate of service, which I just sent to the judge, the wonderful judge in Las Vegas. Okay, y'all, I think this next part, this sentence is the most important thing in my entire response. I tell Slimy, quote, if this court lacks personal jurisdiction. The motion to compel is moot, and nothing else needs to be considered. I'm gonna, just to be super anal, I'm gonna tweak that. I am trying to make it easy for the judge to just be done with me, which I think he would like that. And I'm trying to make this as simple as possible for him to just grant it. Although I'm realistic, the judge will probably rule against me. Even though I think so far this is really good, I think it's not going to go my way. I'm realistic. So I revised that sentence, the most important sentence in this filing. If this court in the Southern District of New York lacks personal jurisdiction, the motion to compel is moot and nothing else needs to be considered. So I'm not going to mention anything else, just the issue of jurisdiction, as I told you. Let's get to the rest. I tell his most unhonorable, quote, a Rule 26C protective order motion does not waive personal jurisdiction. Waiver requires merit-based engagement. Waiver occurs only when a party's conduct creates a reasonable expectation that it will defend the suit on the merits, a fact-specific determination. Merely filing procedural or defensive motions does not trigger waiver. Then I cite the case law. Yes, I had my dad, ChatGPT, help me with this, obviously, but I also spent a lot of time on it, going over it, tweaking, and making sure, double and triple checking that every single case mentioned here is real. There is no ghost law in this response. Thank God. 2. Defensive procedural filings are preserving, not waiving. Courts distinguish between motions seeking procedural relief, such as a protective order, and filings addressing substantive claims. Only the latter may constitute waiver. Mine was not. Mine was just procedural. And then I cite the case law. 3. Rule 12H preserves the defense. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 12H1 provides that the defense of lack of personal jurisdiction is waived only if not raised in the first responsive filing or motion. A motion for a protective order under Rule 26C is not a responsive pleading and therefore does not waive jurisdictional objections. Las Vegas, Nevada is the proper venue under Rule 45. Why? Well, compliance venue is controlling. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 45D3A requires that motions to quash or modify a subpoena be filed in the court for the district where compliance is required. The subpoena here designates Las Vegas, Nevada as the compliance location, not New York. B. Courts enforce venue limits strictly. And then I cite the case law. In KGK Jewelry LLC versus ESD Network, this court held it lacked jurisdiction to decide motions to quash because the compliance courts were located elsewhere, explaining jurisdiction over a motion to quash or modify remains with the court for the district where compliance is required. Yes, I did just quote a ruling, a true, real ruling from the Southern District of New York, where Judge Lyman's court is. This is so good! Likewise, in Aging Court Gaming LLC versus Zynga, the District of Nevada emphasized that the place of compliance is tethered to the subpoenaed person's location, and that courts outside that district lack jurisdiction to resolve such motions absent a proper Rule 45 transfer. No such transfer has been granted with regards to this subpoena. 4. Transfers under Rule 45F are rare. While Rule 45F allows a compliance court to transfer a subpoena-related motion to the issuing court, such transfers require either the non-party's consent, none has been given by me, or exceptional circumstances. Miss Lively has made no claims of exceptional circumstances. She has not filed a response in Nevada, and her cross motion to compel in this court makes no notice of any exceptional circumstances that would warrant a transfer to SDNY. The advisory committee has noted that the prime concern is avoiding burden on local non-parties, like me. Then I cite case law. I'm going to get rid of all of these numbers in front of the reasoning because it's throwing me off. So I'm going to go back later and get rid of all the numbers. There's no need. Additionally, due process forbids jurisdiction in the Southern District of New York. Under International Shoe Co. versus Washington, personal jurisdiction exists only when a party has minimum contacts with the forum and litigation there does not offend traditional notions of fair play and substantial justice. As a Nevada resident, with no relevant contacts with New York beyond the limited defensive filing of a Rule 26C motion, I lack such contacts, compelling me to litigate in the Southern District of New York would impose an undue burden and violate due process principles. And then I cite the case law. Conclusion. For the reasons above, 1. My Rule 26 motion did not waive my personal jurisdiction defense. 2. This court lacks personal jurisdiction to enforce or compel compliance with this subpoena. 3. Las Vegas, Nevada is the proper forum under Rule 45. 4. The motion to compel should therefore be denied with prejudice in this court, so that no further motion to compel may be brought in the Southern District of New York against me in this matter. I know. The likelihood of me winning the lotto is greater than Judge Lyman, A, granting my response, granting my opposition, meaning her argument that he has jurisdiction. He doesn't. The likelihood of him saying he doesn't have jurisdiction is slim to none. And even smaller than that is him ruling in my favor and then ruling in my favor with prejudice. With prejudice means it's done. She cannot appeal this decision. It's over. I mean, if he really wants to be done with me, he would grant it and grant it with prejudice, but I'm not getting my hopes up. We know who we're dealing with here. And 5, if plaintiff wishes to pursue further relief, it must be sought, if at all, in the proper forum, the District of Nevada, consistent with Rule 45 and due process. Respectfully submitted, Mario Armando Lavandera, Jr. Wowza. By the time you watch this, I already sent it to Judge Lyman. I'm going to do that immediately after I stop talking, before I upload the video. So I can't take any suggestions, but I would love to hear from you. Please. I'm proud of myself. It would have been so easy to just give her what she wants, but that's unethical and illegal. She is asking me to break the law, essentially. My sources are protected and privileged information. This has been established in the law for decades. And even though I'm not worried about what she could get from me, which is why I'm not hiring a lawyer, it's still been draining. It's still been enlightening. And I don't even know what I was going to say. I lost my train of thought. Y'all, I'm barely functioning right now, but I think I did this well. What do you think? Let's discuss everything in the comments section. Mwah! And I sent it already. See you in the comments. Oh my God, y'all. Oh my. P.S. Thank God. Thank me, I read it over again one more time, and I was about to make another rookie mistake. I had not included in this response a copy of my motion to quash in Las Vegas, which I am not arguing all of those points, but better for the judge to have my motion to quash in Nevada than not have that. Maybe he'll read it. Maybe he won't. But maybe reading it might help him rule in my favor. I don't know. As I've said repeatedly, I am trying my best, and I'm also trying a lot. I am throwing everything up against the wall, as the expression goes, and seeing what sticks, if anything. Obviously, I will keep you posted. But you have just heard my response before it hit the court docket. So thank you for watching. Your support here means so much to me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. See you in the comments section.